Got into my truck this morning, and the temperature said it was 19 degrees outside. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you're listening live up north. 19 degrees is cold anywhere.
It's stupid.
It's stupid cold.
It's very cold out there.
Dang, man. And Mo had to walk. I mean, it's not a long walk, but, I mean, what do you got?
It's you come out the building, you walk a little bit, then you cross the street, then you walk a little bit more. It's just long enough that right when you're like 5 steps from the door, you feel it.
It is cold, man.
It's freezing.
In Atlanta, I'm sure most of your kids, got the word yesterday that schools were pretty much closed already today in a lot of different counties just because of the snow didn't hit all the areas. And if you have 5 people in a room here, probably 5 different people have different experiences with what happened with snow yesterday. Southside got hit pretty bad. Jackson's out today because Midtown got hit bad.
Yeah, and so and we got snow in Buckhead as well, and it wasn't the snow, it's the ice. The roads got really icy and turned into a cluster for Atlanta because I don't care who you are, nobody can drive on ice.
No.
So anything I feel that was, and I was North Buckhead, so I think anything like below North Buckhead, you were you got hit with some ice.
This takes me back to this weekend when I was watching some football games in like Buffalo and up north, where I'm like, people need to know that they don't need to live there. They can leave if they want. There's no law that has been passed. I don't think it was one of the things that Trump passed yesterday that said you have to stay where you live. I think you can take off.
I was amazed at how many people went to that football game.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see a football game that bad.
And then you get the brave idiots that are doing it without their shirts on. I'll show you. I'll live in Philly. We're tough.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose a nipple doing that.
Yeah, a dude in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago got frostbite, and he was on the news. He almost lost his fingers.
Are you kidding me?
Nuh-uh.
I don't doubt it.
Nope, it's not worth it.
All right, the polar opposite of that. You were going to one of the warmest places in the world over the weekend, and that was in Panama. Your friends, you were upset because they betrayed you. They betrayed you before the trip.
They all betrayed me, and it turned out to be for nothing. And now I don't know how to look at my friends. So my girl is convinced that her birthday is cursed. Like, she's genuinely convinced of this. And I thought it was foolish at first. After what happened going to Panama City, Panama.
Not Panama City
Not
Beach.
Panama City Beach.
We got that
I got
straight
so
now.
many DMs about that. Yes, we got it all together now. I'm convinced that she might actually have a point because, so apparently the last 4 birthdays for my lady have been rough. She broke her wrist on her birthday 4 years ago.
Doing what?
Riding one of those Segways. Is that what you call them?
Oh, no.
She got it. Yeah.
You got to make up a better excuse than that.
I know, right?
The
Yeah.
the Segway, like you take tours around the city,
I
right?
think that's what you. Not the one with the
That's
handles.
a Segway.
Not the one with the handles. Then the one
Scooter?
that, like you remember they were real popular.
Oh, the hoverboard.
The hoverboard. There you go. The hoverboard.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The hoverboard.
Yeah,
Okay.
the hoverboard does make more sense. I'm like, I do not see her on a Segway. Yeah, she doesn't give me mall cop
She
vibes.
definitely.
She's not giving Paul Blart.
She probably is gonna be upset with me for that one. Yeah. No, hoverboard. To be
Hoverboard.
clear.
Okay, cool.
She got on it for all of like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Fell off, broke her wrist.
Oh man.
The year after that, she was doing something else. I can't remember. And she chipped like her tooth. The tooth went into her lip. The lip swole up. On her birthday, all of these things are happening.
Hey, free lip filler.
That's what I was thinking.
Not a bad way to put it. She broke her phone the year after that. And then now this is this year. And I feel bad for her, but she doesn't complain, but she loves birthdays. So I know it bothers her. So we started out to go on this trip a year ago. And it was 7 people going. One of her favorite couples, one of my favorite couples, and one of my friends. All of these people are going. She's very excited about it. She wants to spend her birthday with all these people. Now, how does the trip go from 7 people to literally just the 2 of us a day before the trip? That's how it all panned out.
Oh no, now she's already like, it's like another birthday that's about to be ruined.
And she's just with you?
Another one. So her couple, which is her favorite couple, it was odd because we had started to hear rumors that they actually broke up before we were going on a trip.
OT.
But we're like, that can't be a thing because they're both texting us, like in the group text about going and updating us on the trip. And turns out the day before the trip, they finally admit that they had broken up, but they were going to try to like pull it together just to be there for my girl and her birthday.
Aw.
But the two of them, I guess,
They couldn't do it.
They realized towards the end, like, this is stupid. I'm sorry, we got to come clean with y'all. We can't do it. So they completely broke up. So I'm joking, right? Like, oh, your birthday curse is starting to spread around.
That's not something you joke about with the birthday girl.
Yeah, I was trying to make light of it. I'm an idiot sometimes. And
You gotta
then,
read the room. Some people want levity, some people don't.
this is true.
There's not a lot of people in that room.
There's literally one person you have to read.
So then my dude FaceTimes me with his entire arm in a splint. And apparently he like separated his shoulder or something in the gym. Like doing regular gym routine, he hurts his shoulder. He can't go now. Then the last couple that was supposed to come with us, just when I thought that you guys were the only ones who confused us going to Panama City, Panama. They bought tickets to go to Panama City Beach.
No.
I am so serious. And didn't realize it until last minute because they were like, why y'all not at the gate? And then we like, what gate? And then they happened to look up and realize that they bought tickets to Panama City Beach.
I guarantee you, they are not the only ones who have ever done that.
I really wonder. I wonder if someone else has ever done that.
Do you know that there is a desk when you land? I think it's in Austria for people who thought they were going to Australia.
Come on.
Are you serious?
Like
Really?
there's a desk designated for people who bought the wrong ticket because apparently it happens that often. And I'm 90% sure it's in Austria, and it's because people thought they were buying tickets to Australia.
So attaching to the couple that broke up, me and my ex-wife Stacy had a trip planned to Italy with two other couples. And we decided that we were going to get divorced also. So we had already made that decision, but the trip was already done. So we're like, we could do this. So we went with our friends to Italy knowing that we were getting divorced. It was our last vacation together.
Wow.
Your last hurrah?
The last trip. And it went great.
And I was about to say, how was it?
It was absolutely fantastic.
I don't know if I could do that, man. But yeah, our friends couldn't pull it off.
So at the end of the day, is it just the two of you guys that went on the vacation?
Just the two of us. Which
Wow.
it turned out to be a good time. So it was still cool. But yeah, I'm like, your birthday might actually have a curse.
Time to get buzzed on the hot goss from Hollywood with Abby. It's the Bert Show's entertainment buzz.
I felt like one of those bulls behind a gate yesterday when the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively footage got released, like ready to go into the rodeo.
You're so into it that anytime I see anything with that story now, I immediately want to text you or call you or email you.
I don't know why this story just strikes a chord with me. Maybe
You're
it's
not the only one. This is a fascinating story.
It's really interesting just because I feel like unless you're these two people, there's so much back and forth that it's really easy to flip sides based off of who has the latest story out. And also, like, I was invested in the book. I was invested in the movie. I'm a big Blake Lively fan. I'm a big Justin Baldoni fan. So the fact that all of this is coming together has my head on a swivel.
And I also think this is a lesson in how two people can look at the same situation and see it completely differently, depending on your life experiences, your past experiences, your vantage point. And I think that's what's happening here with this footage from the behind the scenes footage from the movie that Justin just released.
I watched all 10 minutes of it like 3 times, picking it apart segment by segment. Mo looks confused. Explain what's going on.
So let me give you the rundown on what's happening. So I'm hoping by this point you've heard at least a little bit about this case. Essentially, Justin Baldoni acquired the rights to the book It Ends With Us, created a movie for it after working on it for 5 years. Blake Lively was starring across from him as the lead actress, and there was all of this press stuff happening when the movie came out, basically saying like, oh, something happened on set. Justin Baldoni's not taking photos with the cast. What happened? And then back in December, Blake Lively sued him, basically saying that he retaliated against her with a public smear campaign in the press because she brought up claims of sexual harassment. And he's saying, literally none of that happened. Actually, you retaliated against me because you wanted full control of this movie. Here's all the proof of all the things that you did to try and take control of this movie. So really, I'm the one who was victimized here, and I tried to give you everything you want, and it still wasn't enough. And so there's some conflicting reports in both of their lawsuits. So there is one scene from the film that is mentioned in both of their complaints. So I'm going to read you what Blake Lively said happened, and then I'll kind of summarize what Justin Baldoni said happened, and then I'll kind of explain what happened in the scene. So in Blake Lively's complaint that came out in December, It said about a quarter of the way through the complaint, it said, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. So, in films when they're trying to show that like they fell in love and it was great, but they need to do it really quickly, it was one of those scenes. So there were a bunch of scenes spliced together, and this is one of them.
Part of what was so fascinating to me watching it yesterday was this is supposed to be a very romantic scene, and it gives you a peek behind the scenes of what really goes on. They're having casual conversation, regular conversation about real life things that you'll never see in the movie, but they're looking at each other with such loving eyes that they're acting, but they're also talking about regular things, and it was just, I had never seen that before.
Yeah, you have like this moment of cognitive dissonance where it's like, okay, it sounds like Blake Lively, but it looks like Lily Bloom, who's in the film. So Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle, who was his character. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear down to her neck and said, "It smells so good." Now, in his lawsuit, he said it smells so good because they were talking about her spray tan and her body makeup, and he just said, "Oh, it smells good. Like, you don't smell bad." None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Miss Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he pretty much says, yes, all of that went down, but we were acting for a scene. This was for a romantic montage. And so when TMZ released the 10-minute clip, you see a lot of this go down where they're slow dancing. And there are moments where Blake Lively like caresses his face or caresses the back of his neck. And, he's pulling hair out of her face, and they're like doing this thing where they almost kiss, and it's very romantic, but they are talking back and forth as each other. The context here from Justin Baldoni's standpoint is that he didn't want them to talk. She was the one that wanted to talk during the scene because she said that in romantic moments with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, they talk to each other. And so Justin Baldoni was saying in that scene, literally, like it's on film, he's like, well, we don't really talk, me and my wife, when we want to get romantic. We just stare at each other. And so I think people it's kind of split down the middle. Well, I would actually say it's split 75-25. 75% of the people are like, well, she's just doing her job and acting, and this looks like a very comfortable scene where they're just doing what they're supposed to do. And 25% of the people are like, well, she may very well be uncomfortable. This doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah, there was one thing that just drew my attention. He says they're talking in this casual conversation, and they're also talking about how he and his wife act in intimate, scenes like that. And he says he pays her a compliment like, "Oh my God, you guys are the cutest." And she says almost defensively, like, "We're way more than cute."
Yeah, it's a little defensive.
Yeah.
So watching it myself, and I have been leaning towards Justin Baldoni, if I'm being honest, but having watched this video and being a woman that's been placed in situations where men have made me feel uncomfortable, and I felt the need to overcompensate to make it less uncomfortable, I don't think that video proves anything. Like if people watch it and they're like, she looked totally fine. Women often do that to appease the person they're with, to not cause a scene. So you have all these extras around you, you have all of your crew there, and so you'll kind of play along, and you look like you're consenting, and you look like you're okay with this, but in actuality, it's just something that's been ingrained in you. Like, don't make a scene, just make it right and get through it, and then you'll be fine.
But her recollection of exactly what was happening in that scene is completely and totally disproved with the video.
I disagree.
I don't think it's disproved, but I do think it is interesting to see how different people's personal experiences have colored the lens of how they're viewing what happened in it. And so now Blake Lively's camp is actually saying exactly what Kristen said, that this doesn't prove anything. And I'm going to read you their statement on your next eBuzz on The Bert Show.
This was a sobering answer for me to try to take a look at earlier this morning. So the question is this. You walk into a room with 1,000 people that are your age and living a straight lifestyle. If you walk into that room of the 1,000 how many do you think would be attracted to you? Now, this was focused on men, so let me give you those stats. And then I'm interested to go around the room and see how it applies to you guys, okay? Got it so far?
Mm-hmm.
You walk into a room with 1,000 single women around your age. How many of them do you think would be attracted to you? 42% did not have a lot of high hopes and said between 1 and 25 of the women. That's 0.1% to 2.5%.
So you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
It's a slim one.
Somebody gonna think I'm cute.
Right. 24% said it's a little bit higher. Again, these are dudes between 26 and 74 of them. That's 2.6% to 7.4%. 10% said notch above that between 75 and 99 of them, which would be about 7.5 to 10%. 15% said they would turn heads, 100 to 200 of them, 10% to 20%. And 14% said women would be falling all over them, with more than 200 of the 1,000 women being attracted to them, which is more than 20%.
What I wouldn't do to see the photos of that 14% who said women would be falling and fawning over themselves.
Yeah, I felt like men fall into like one or two categories, but this proves it wrong. Is where you think nobody is attracted to you, or you think everybody is attracted to you, right?
Well, a majority of them think nobody's attracted to them.
Yeah.
So that says something about
Right.
men's self-esteem right there.
It's pretty sobering, right?
Yeah.
In the comments, one person said, if I walked in right now, 0. But if I had a chance to shave, dress up a little bit, 5. Someone else said, can I talk to him for a few hours, or just like first sight based on appearance only stuff? That would have been my question also, for sure. And there were several men that lacked any confidence at all and commented on the fact that there wasn't a 0 option at all. So for you guys, same question. Abby, you walk into a room, dudes, everybody's straight, they're your age. How many of the 1,000 are going to be physically, to look at you, immediately attracted to you?
If I walk in exactly like this, 0%. If I walk in with a full beat, I feel very confident. 77%.
77%.
I feel like a C+.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I feel very confident that 75% would be like, I'd hit that.
Good
wow.
on
So
you.
Talk your talk.
of the 1,000 men, what number? Because they're given the actual number of men that would. So of the 1,000 men, how many would be like, yes, I want to go out with her?
777.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Damn, I wish I had your confidence.
All right.
Ow.
No. I'm saying I admire it. Yeah.
I feel like this would be humbling. There would be less people than you imagine, kind of like those pop the balloon videos where people think they're very attractive and they walk out and all the women start popping the balloon.
Oh,
Yes.
those videos are the best.
Oh, man.
Did you see the one where the woman walks out and everybody had the balloon and then she started talking and they were like, pop, 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 pop.
Yes, it sounded like a machine was going off in the back. I'd say I'm pretty confident I could do about like 250.
250.
250,
All
I
right,
would say.
A quarter of those women are going to go, okay, that dude, I like that dude.
Yes,
All right.
for sure.
You got to wear those blue sweatpants, and then you're going to triple your
Then it
numbers.
goes to about 500 then, Abby.
You need to wear what Dave Chappelle was wearing the other night.
The extra mediums.
Yeah. All right, Cassie, 1,000 dudes. You walk right in there. Your age. How many are going to be attracted to you?
If I am being completely candid, probably 3 to 5.
3 to 5, you say?
Yes. And it's not because I have low self-esteem. I really do think I'm pretty. It's just I know I don't have the body type that appeals to most men. I think if you hit me up like in my early 30s, when I was a lot skinnier, sadly, I think it would probably be around 50%.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's not because I feel bad about
Yeah.
myself. I definitely feel worthy. It's just, it is what it is.
So let me ask you a painful question. At this age, if you were thinner, what do you think that answer would be?
And they're all my age.
You're all your age.
I would say 50%.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really think I'm a pretty person. I just don't have the standard body type that people like.
Yeah, I
so.
said to you before, I think you should be modeling.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when you take pictures online, I'm like, dang.
Oh, that's the photographers.
But in person, you're busted.
Kristen, what is it for you?
All right. So if I walk into a room with men my age, and that is, like 45. I am painfully aware that 45-year-old men don't like to date 45-year-old women. So of the 1,000 men, I'm going to put it at 44 of those would find me attractive.
Really?
What?
Yes.
Really?
1,000%.
I don't think so.
I
think it would be
1,000%.
higher than that.
You're banging, girl.
I appreciate, and I'm not fishing for compliments at all. I firmly believe that I'd say of the 1,000 dudes, 44. That sounds about right.
I feel like you could get at least 47.
Oh, thank you.
You're undershooting a little bit.
47.
That's very kind of you.
And then they take their glasses off and it shoots up to 100% because they can't see you.
Exactly.
I was really, really focusing on around your age because I'm in my 50s. And women in their 50s, in your 20s, you come to the table with a whole bunch of wish list items for who you're going to end up with, right? By the time you get into your 50s, you have edited that list down so much that I would say I got a shot at like 10 to 20 of the 1,000 at my age. And that's about it.
You more than
No, you're shooting a little high there, aren't you?
And that's only because they're around my age. And other men have let them down over the years. And they're like, is he a warm body? Can he make me laugh just a little bit?
No, you're going to walk in like the guy with the cardboard sign that always holds it. You're going to walk in and it's just going to have your bank account number on it.
I'll get about half.
I feel like I need to get more nervous about this improv night we're doing tomorrow night, or I'm not going to be sharp. Like right now, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun, and I need to tweak that opinion, or I'm going to go in there and feel like, oh, this is going to be easy, when it's not going to be easy.
It is not, which is why we're going to do a little practice for our improv show we have coming up tomorrow night.
Sometimes it's fun to be stupid.
Everybody gets stupid, stupid. Everybody gets stupid, stupid.
Yo, you don't even know what stupid is. It's about to get all stupid up in here.
So we are going to be performing live on stage at Dad's Garage doing improv with their improv crew, and it's now starting to hit me. And the nerves are starting to like seep into the bones and into the joints, especially after I did a little research last night on improv games for us to practice for our big show tomorrow night.
Now, this is a little different than we did it 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I remember going to the improv place, and they schooled us a little bit, like days beforehand. We went through a couple of different assignments. They threw new things at us on stage, but we were prepared, right? This one, we're going over to Dad's Garage, and we're like hanging out with them for half an hour, and then they're like, go on stage.
Yep. So that's why I was like, for my stupid bit this week, we're going to do some improv games to sharpen up those skills and to prepare us for tomorrow night, okay?
Okay.
So the first one we are going to play is questions only. So questions only, according to the internets, is an easy improv game for beginners. And hey, we're the beginners.
Ultra beginners, okay?
All right, first the group decides a scenario, then participants must act out the scene by only speaking in questions.
Okay.
All right, so you and I are going to start.
Okay.
Whoever screws up,
All
then
right.
Mo comes in. Then whoever screws up again, Abby comes in.
Okay.
Now, Tommy, our show director, what is our scenario?
You're on a first date at the zoo.
First date at the zoo. Okay.
Right?
Would you like to start?
I would love to start.
That's my first question.
Have you ever been to the zoo before?
I have been to the zoo before. Have you been to the zoo before?
I'm wondering if we should go see the monkeys.
Monkeys. What else are your favorite animals?
Shoot!
That's it? You're out already?
I wasn't expecting it to be this hard. All right, Abby.
Okay.
So now it's you and I then.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right. What are your favorite animals?
I am a big fan of the gorillas. Do you come here often?
Wow.
This is just me on every date ever.
Almost weekly. Is this your first time here?
I
All right, Mo.
Do monkeys scare you?
They terrify me. Do tigers scare you?
No, you say they terrify me. Like that's a sentence.
So you're not supposed to even. Okay.
No.
All right. So say it again.
Okay.
Do monkeys scare you?
We're screwed. No, this bit scares me. We're totally screwed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Y'all are down bad in here.
And this is just in studio with no audience.
All right, no. We got this. All right, let's start again. Tommy, give us another scenario. Mo and Abby are going to start it, and then Bert and I will pop in.
Okay.
You are at the Jiffy Lube to get an oil change.
And again, you can't like everything.
So there's no answer. It's always just questions.
just questions.
Okay.
You come here often?
Only when my car makes that weird noise. Does your car
See,
also
you're-
make a weird noise?
You already messed it up.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
answer with-
No, I'm creating conversation.
Only when you can. I am trying to think about.
All right, does your car also make a weird noise?
Only. Do you know Jiffy?
Mr. Lube is.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
Yep.
So I'm.
What
I'm
a
effed.
train wreck
I'm
this is
effed.
going to
I
be
gotta
tomorrow
come see
night.
this.
All right, well, good. This is the nervousness I needed.
Okay.
I've got an improv question. How much did we charge people for this?
way too much.
Hey, it's a charity event. It's a charity. I had this thought last night, Cassie, because we were talking about doing a live stream, but we didn't know if it was going to be cost effective, right? You know those meta glasses I have? You can live stream on Instagram in those. Why don't we just plant somebody in the front row and do it on Instagram?
Yeah. Great idea.
Are you improving right now?
Do you know how to do social media?
What do you mean?
I'm playing the game with you.
Oh, okay. We are so screwed. Anyway, let's talk about it off this show, but that might be an easy fix.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. So this is the year, Abby. You've decided your New Year's resolution is to become an adult.
I've decided I'm going to become an adult this year.
It's so overrated, girl.
It's.
I wouldn't do it if I were you.
Well,
Yeah, right?
I'm afraid I might not have a choice because I feel like my apartment complex is pushing me to the edge where I have to make my final leap into adulthood, my final grown-up decision, and it has everything to do with the fact that I think my apartment complex is hazing me. So do you remember last year I talked about how for like 4 weeks in a row, the fire alarm was going off in the middle of the night for like 4 weeks in a row, and it was all because people were smoking weed in the hallways. It was traumatizing. My cat was going under the bed. I was trying to get her out from under the bed so we could not burn alive if there was actually a fire, and then we had to sit outside with all my other neighbors, and then I actually had to run in with my hot neighbor who turned out to not be my hot neighbor because he ended up kind of looking like Milo from Return to Atlantis. But it was just a whole thing. Well, my apartment complex is going back to its roots and making me miserable by waking me up in the middle of the night for multiple reasons. And it all started a couple of weeks ago when somebody's car alarm decided to go off in the middle of the night multiple nights in a row around 4 a.m., which is the worst possible time somebody who does this job could be woken up because it's too late for you to go back to sleep, but it just woke you up early enough to where you've now gotten 5.5 hours of sleep instead of 7.
There was a time, Abby, maybe even before you were born, when a car alarm went off and it actually startled you. Like, oh my God, I wonder what's going on in that car. And now a car alarm goes off and it's just like, what the hell is going on? Like, who got too close to that car that the alarm went off, you know?
I know. I'm like, is it the cold that's triggering it?
Yeah.
So then that happened for a couple of days in a row. And then finally it stopped. I was like, thank God they figured their stuff out. And then a crying baby moved next door to me. And I don't know, well, you guys have had crying babies before, but if you're a single person who doesn't have children and you've never experienced what it's like to live with a child, I now know what that's like. Because every hour on the hour, I swear that kid is throwing a fit about something. And the thing about apartment complexes is the walls are paper. How have we not come up with a solution for this yet? How many people do we, like, how many times do people have to complain about apartment complexes being, the walls being too thin, you can hear your neighbors doing the nasty, you can hear the child screaming. How have we not come up with a solution yet?
Well, there is a solution because I do think there's insulation and things that you can use to like buffer sounds, but it's expensive. And apartment buildings aren't going to use that stuff because they're going to make their buildings as cheap as possible to make as much money as possible.
And then my final straw was last week for multiple days in a row. I now have 2 cats. I used to just have 1 cat. Now I have 2 cats. And I've literally had to herd my cats at 3 o'clock in the morning because the fire alarms are going off again.
Again?
And this time it's not just 1 cat that I have to get, it's 2. So I have my baby cat in the guest room and then I have my cat in my room who likes to go under the bed And I don't know if you know this about cats, but they're not smart. So like when they hear the fire alarm, they're not like, we're going to burn alive. They're like, I'd rather stay under this bed. And I'm like, we're going to burn alive. So I'm like, we have to go.
They're trying to hide from the sound.
So you've got to like super Hulk it and like get your mattress off and then the box spring off. And so you tear apart your room to now get your cat, to which you then have to sit in the freezing cold because I don't know if you remember this, but it snowed last week or 2 weeks ago. And you're sitting there out in the cold with your 2 cats questioning every life decision you've ever made. And you thought, why am I renting in this apartment? Why don't I just simply move?
It's time to buy.
And
Time
so
to buy, huh?
in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., I decided, I think I need to go.
I think you do too.
It's time to go.
You're gonna buy a house or something.
I'm gonna buy something. I might buy a cardboard box on the side of the road with the way that this economy is going.
Hey,
but gosh darn it, I'm getting away from that baby.
Call a realtor you can trust.
Okay.
Call the Justin Landis Group.
Hey, this is me. This is how I should not be an adult. Literally, right before we got on this break, because I contacted him last week to talk about lending options, and he connected me with someone. And so I'm in the process of doing that. And I literally emailed him today, and I was like, "Hi, Justin. I want to buy a place. How does one do that?" Like, literally, this is one of those adult things that nobody tells you how to do. That I'm like, so I'm gonna buy something. How do I do? Do I go to Zillow? Does Zillow call me?
You won't have to worry about it now because the amount of real estate agents that listen to the show that are going to DM you now making offers to pitch you on homes is going to be overwhelming today.
Unless you're giving me some kind of deal, don't contact me. I'm already emailing Justin Landis.
Time to get buzzed on the hot goss from Hollywood with Abby. It's the Bert Show's entertainment buzz.
Back to my actual passion, this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively case. So if you missed the first break, we talked about this new footage that dropped from the It Ends With Us movie and basically explained what went down. And both of their claims in their lawsuits, both Blake and Justin, their claims aren't that different. It's just the way they're viewing the same scene. And the scene footage that was released on TMZ was about 10 minutes of a scene that they were filming for a romantic montage. Blake is saying that they were not supposed to be in character in this scene. Basically, they were talking to each other as both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And Justin's like, we were filming this for a romantic montage. And she's saying I made some creepy pass about the way that she smells by saying it smells so good, but we were talking about her spray tan. And so I think some women have seen this scene and gone, oh yeah, I can tell that she's really uncomfortable. And then there are other people who are like, didn't you sign up to play a romantic lead? So why are you shocked that you have to now do romantic things?
Well, she's an actress, and I think she's a good actress. And so if you are a woman, and I want you to tap into any of your past experiences. If you are a woman that has been put in an uncomfortable position by a man, but you didn't want to cause a scene, you wanted to downplay what was happening, so you kind of go along with it, you laugh, you joke your way out of it, and then it's not till later when it starts to hit and it starts to like sink in, like, yeah, I was uncomfortable in that moment. Why did I make it okay for him to act like that? So for me, watching that, I can see why people are like, dude, you were totally fine. You were joking. You were dancing. You were caressing. It's like, that was the scene, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can see, I understand why people are leaving the comments that, you know, she seemed completely comfortable, completely fine in the moment. But I also know that there are women who do that because they don't want to cause a scene, and they're trying to be polite, and they're trying to be amicable. And I can see it both ways.
So her legal team has spoken out in response to the footage that got released. And here's what they said. They said, while it might seem like they were merely actors acting out a scene that's supposed to depict them falling in love, every moment of this was improvised by Mr. Baldoni with no discussion or consent in advance and no intimacy coordinator present. Mr. Baldoni was not only Miss Lively's co-star, but the director, the head of the studio, and Miss Lively's boss. So that last little part is trying to paint this power dynamic that he has over her and why she didn't say something in the scene and why she did feel uncomfortable. So the contention point for me isn't the scene, because I do think it is just kind of like a she felt, he said type of situation. Like, I can totally see from her standpoint why she would be uncomfortable. My question is, from an acting standpoint, from a production standpoint, what are the parameters in a scene like that where you're not going to use the dialogue, but you still have to be in character? Because what I'm confused about in her complaint is she's saying that they were not acting as their characters Lily and Ryle. And my confusion and my question is, what are you doing on camera then if you're not acting out your characters?
So they were dancing like the characters, but they weren't dialoguing like the characters,
Right.
which is so strange to watch.
Yeah, because they're not going to use the audio, but it's still supposed to portray a certain type of. It's supposed to portray them falling in love in this scene.
So were they supposed to improv in that moment?
So that's the question: is like, what are the parameters? Is improv bad? Did they really go off script in terms of what they were supposed to do? Was everything supposed to be scripted out, or is it normal for a scene like that to just kind of get into character and play around with what you would do in that moment?
A lot of these are industry questions, and when I was reading the comments, you could tell a lot of people within the industry had very strong opinions on it. I don't have that experience. But it seemed to me like a lot of the comments were, he's the director, yet she seemed to be the one taking control of the situation and directing him.
That's another thing I want to point out is the one thing I haven't seen her refute is all of the claims that he has had in his lawsuit about how she allegedly like hijacked the film by firing his editors, hiring her own editors, wanting to make her own cut. I haven't seen her come out against that. So what is also confusing me with her legal team's claim with this is they're painting a power dynamic by saying Mr. Baldoni was not only Miss Lively's co-star, but the director, the head of the studio, and Miss Lively's boss. So they have conflicting reports. Like from Justin's standpoint, it looks like there was an imbalance in power with Blake Lively in the sense that he felt like he needed to appease her. But from her standpoint, she's saying, oh, he had all this power and control over me, so I felt like I had to appease him in this moment. So really the question is, who had the power in this lawsuit? Who had the power in this situation? Because I feel like that's kind of the defining factor as to who actually got to feel, not who got to feel uncomfortable, because your feelings are valid, but I think both of them are trying to say that the other person had power in this situation. So it's tough to decipher since we're on the outside.
This is not going away, is it?
It's not going away for a very long time, and I hope they live stream every second of it.
The chemistry in the office, or the chemistry in the studio, or the chemistry on the team is always so important that you really have to handle it with kid gloves, right? So when one person in the office or on a team starts dating somebody that's connected to somebody else in the office or the team, it's not good for anybody.
Do you owe it to your teammate to tell them if you just might be getting into a serious relationship with their ex? That's the question. And my dude is in this situation, and it's very layered. It's even more than them being teammates. And it's a question of, is it really the guy's business? Because if it goes bad, it could have a lot of different bad repercussions for my friend in a lot of different areas. So to give y'all the full picture, he's a bartender, and that's important because not only is this guy his teammate, but he also visits this bar frequently, all the time. So they're in each other's vicinity weekly. That happens. Now, they're not best friends. They don't really hang out per se, but they do have each other's number. They do see each other, and they're friendly at the bar when they do. And they also play in, which is going to sound funny, but it's a really big deal to them. They play in this yearly soccer league where, like, everyone in the state that's not a professional soccer player, this is pretty much where they go to continue to play soccer.
So it's not like a rec league. It's like a step up from a rec league.
Exactly that. And they've won a couple championships in this league. It's been a thing for like 10 plus years. So they're teammates. At the end of the day, if you've ever played sports, you're close to your teammates. They may not be your best friends outside of the sport, but when you get together on the field and in practice and things like that, there's a brotherhood there. There's a camaraderie there, and usually the chemistry is very important. So the guy, and this is all according to my friend, this guy was in a relationship with this woman for about 3 years, and they were pretty serious. They almost got engaged. He got cold feet towards the end of the relationship. This happened about 6 months ago. So it's fairly recent, and they decided to go separate ways. And this was because of him. He got cold feet. He didn't want to go through with it. He said, I think I need some time.
And the breakup happened how long ago?
6 months ago.
Okay.
And they were engaged.
They were about to get engaged.
It's pretty serious either way.
Right. And for whatever reason, he was like, you know what? I need some space to figure some things out. Now, in her mind, space was like, you're going to take some time and then come back to me with some kind of answer, whether we're moving forward or not. But he never did. He kind of just got caught up in that limbo and just was enjoying himself in the space.
Yeah, you can't have open-ended time.
Right. At that point, I think that's how she felt. And she felt like, I'm moving on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on with her life, which, according to my guy, this was not something that was planned. It just happened. But it can kind of seem like it was planned because there were a lot of instances when the couple were together that they would all be around each other. And at that point, my dude became somewhat of a friend to the couple. So when he needed advice, for example, about what to do in their relationship, they would be at like barbecues that the team would have, events like that. And he would go to my guy. And then my guy would give him genuine advice about what he felt like they should do.
You should break up with that chick.
That's
You should definitely break up with her.
What was the advice?
I did ask him that. He said genuinely his advice would be he would try to help him fix it.
Okay.
He wouldn't, so that it doesn't look like he was trying to snake him back then.
Yeah.
He wasn't a saboteur.
No. According to him,
Okay,
right? He
okay.
he genuinely would try to help him fix it, but it just didn't work out. So at some point within the last couple of months, she started coming to the bar a little more. They started becoming closer and closer and closer. Before you knew it, they were hanging out. Now, initially, he didn't feel like he had to say anything. She didn't feel like she had to say anything. It really isn't the guy's business. She's moved on, whatever. But it's actually getting serious. And it's to the point now where they're hanging out every single night, and he doesn't want to hide it anymore, and she doesn't want to hide it anymore. But my dude is like, I'm not going to lie, this guy is volatile. Like, he has a bit of a temperament, and I don't think this is going to go well. So they're in this limbo of, is he obligated to tell him? Because if he finds out another way, that could go really bad. I mean, for the team, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he does kind of feel like, man, I have this dude's number in my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I've given him advice about his lady when they were together.
Yeah.
And now I'm dating her, and it just looks bad. And in his mind, it's like, it just looks so much worse than it is. And maybe if he goes to him first, he can kind of get ahead of it, and it won't be as bad in the end.
It's 100% what he has to do.
Yeah, he's got to man up.
He's got to man up and tell him. If he finds out another way, it's going to be, you've seen these videos where all hell breaks out at a practice and two dudes start fighting with each other.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
It has nothing to do with the soccer game. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way he can just skirt around this. I mean, it's going to be a difficult conversation. Like, that's what he needs to realize, is that there's no easy way to go about this. You can't go into this conversation thinking he's going to be like, oh my God, you're dating my ex-girlfriend, this is so great. And maybe don't get too anxious to the point where you think he's going to, like, hit you. But it's going to sound so bad if they're, like, on the soccer field and someone, like, makes a little jab at him and be like, well, did you hear that so-and-so? So, yeah, I would go for the conversation, have it sober, have witnesses. Don't do it behind closed doors, and have it sooner rather than later.
Because that was his other question. I told him the same thing. I said, you got to talk to him. And he said, do I text him or do I tell him in person?
You got to tell him in person. I've done this conversation before.
You have?
Yeah, because I didn't realize the guy I was dating was an ex of a friend of mine from it was our high school sweetheart. So I went to her and I'm like, hey, here's the deal. I just want to make sure like you're cool with this or whatever. She said, yeah. And then she ended up sleeping with him. So yeah.
All's well that ends well.
Not easy being a good person.
No, sir, not
Really
at
is
all.
not. My son was the victim of a hit and run the other day down at SCAD. He's got himself a little scooter, cruises around SCAD. SCAD's an interesting campus because it's not like your traditional college campus where it's just like all in one area. You could like walk from one place to the other. These are all different buildings all around Savannah, right? So my man is not such a great driver, so he's got himself a scooter, and he is rocking the streets of SCAD on his scooter the other day. When I'm not exactly sure of all of the details, but at the end of the day, somebody clipped him while he was on his scooter, didn't stop, and just took off.
A car hit him on a scooter and they didn't bother to stop?
That is what I said.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So
Is he okay?
He's fine.
Okay.
He called me and he's like, I got a couple of scraps here, but hey, Pops, my scooter's all jacked up. Can you hook me up with another scooter?
Wow.
And so I have to send a scooter down there for him. However, because he has no injuries whatsoever, he feels like he's just got like a scrape on his knee or what have you. Yeah, his scooter is torched. He's like, do I even press charge? Do I even look at it? And I'm like, look, on every street corner, there is a camera around SCAD. So if you call the police and you ask for security, they can for sure figure out who this man or who this woman was. His question is, look, nothing really happened to me. Yeah, the scooter's jacked up. I mean, that's going to cost me $150. It's not a big deal. But should I press charges? So I had an answer. Let me ask you guys. Would you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. For what reason?
For the reason because we have a person out there who is an incapable driver hitting people on scooters, and they need to be held accountable.
No, Hayden is like, I don't even know if this person saw me. And I'm like, come on, my man. I mean, you hit somebody on a scooter, they go down. You know that.
Listen, take it from me. As someone who was hit walking and got hit by a car and then the person took off, I had the same exact thought when it happened to me. I'm fine. I was able to jump. It didn't really harm me. And when I went in to ask if there were cameras and they told me no, at that point, I just let it go because I figured it was just going to be too much time and energy to go through with it. But looking back on it now, I regret it simply because the person took off. And that alone, for me, is enough reason to pursue it. Just
That's a sign of your character.
Right. Like you took off. You hit somebody. You knew you did, and you took off. And for that reason, I feel like he should pursue it.
It's the principle of the matter for me. So at UF, where I went to school, we didn't have like scooters, like in the sense where it's like an electric scooter where you have both feet on it. We had like mopeds. And I would say at least once a year, there was some tragedy where somebody was hit by a car on their moped and they would have an egregious death because most people weren't wearing helmets. And that's a whole other like side conversation about helmets versus no helmets. But the fact that like it was happening so frequently that you knew that at some point it was going to happen during the year. And so for me, I think people need to be held accountable because who's to say that they wouldn't do something like that again where they don't double check their mirrors to check somebody on a bike or a scooter. So I think for the principle of it, I think they need to be held accountable because they couldn't at least do the bare minimum to stop and make sure your son was okay.
Cass, you look like you had something to say.
No, I mean, I agree. It's again, not so much the hitting, mistakes made, and I'm so glad he's okay, but it's the character. They hit someone and took off, and there's no way. Like, as someone, sure, I have anxiety, but who will hit a hard bump and then circle the block to make sure I didn't hit, like, an animal or something. I could not fathom hitting a person and taking off. And here's my thing. The other reason, not only character, but if they've done it once, they'll do it again. And who's to say the next time won't be worse? So it might be worth an intervention.
Yep, my kid's got such a big heart. He's like, this is a felony, and I didn't even get hurt on the whole thing. So am I going to change this guy's life or woman's life if I go and I press charges or I look into it? I'm like, well, that's not really your responsibility. They had a choice to make when it happened, and they chose felony. So I have urged him to do that. I mean, he's an adult now. He's 22 years old. I can't tell him what to do, so I won't. But I urged him to, go ahead. Go and check it out. And just because they find the person doesn't mean you have to press charges, but getting enough money to cover for your scooter would be nice.
Yeah. Go ahead and tell him that you did a poll on the Bert Show, and every single one of us support him immensely and think he needs to go ahead and call it in.
Yeah, I think that will have absolutely no impact.
Tell him, Mama KK, get on the phone with SCAD Security Stat and find the person who hit my little Hayden and knocked him off of his scoot. I'm not happy about it.
Scoot. Please say that to a 22-year-old's face.
All right, Kristen, you are having a realization that it is time to make a change for the sake of your family.
Yeah, my last line may have been an indicator of what I'm going through right now. All right. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. We talked through some stuff out. I'm working on my hormones big time because I don't like who I have become for myself and for my family. I need you, not that you already don't feel for my husband and my child because they have to deal with me on a daily basis, but it's gotten worse. I am dealing with rage. Rage. Like the actual emotion of rage, which is not something I typically have to grapple with. I am an energetic, excitable, happy person. Like my default is happy pretty much most of the time, right? But I have noticed as of late that little nuisances and inconveniences are impacting me way more than they used to, and I am not happy about the person I become when these instances occur.
Can you pinpoint when this change started?
It's been going on for I'd say a couple of months. Now, I have not been specifically diagnosed. A doctor has not given me this diagnosis. This is my own self-diagnosis, and I will readily admit that. But as a woman, I've known this body for 45 years. Pretty confident I'm dealing with some perimenopause hormone fluctuations here.
So you get a little bit older, you're getting pissed.
Yes. And I am taking it out on my husband and my kid, which is not fair. So, and more so for the sake of my kid than my husband, because, Bart's a grown-ass man. He can deal. But nonetheless, like little things will trigger me, and I can track it through my cycle. And it's like the PMS phase has been just amplified. And I deal with misophonia. If you don't know what that is, it's like repetitive noises literally like send a rage and a madness through your body where you want to strangle somebody. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that's how I feel. But like sweet little Jimmy, he's a toddler. He's about to be 4. That brain is still very underdeveloped, and he's testing boundaries. And I know this. Like, I have common sense about me. I just can't control my reaction. And I want to be a calm, understanding person because at my core, I feel like that's who I am. And like this strange woman comes out who is like yelling and going off the handle about really stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I have no control over it. And that out of control feeling is like, oh, it's the worst.
I'm sure you've done some homework on it. So
yes.
For other women that have been in your place, how is it rectified? Is it deep breathing? Is it meditation? Is it medication?
Well, so here's the first steps I'm doing because I got my UTIs under control. Check. So now I'm working on my hormones. I went to a place called Stat Wellness yesterday. We recently did blood work and I did the body scan, right? And so we're rechecking my blood work. And so what I'm about to implement is I'm changing up my dosage of estrogen. My testosterone is fine. My estrogen is a little bit elevated, and my progesterone is low. So I'm going to start taking some progesterone. I'm going to alter what I'm doing with my estrogen, and I'm going to alter some things with my diet, and hopefully that will help with my little rage monster that I have inside of me.
Sounds like you got a plan, though, man.
Yeah.
I do have a plan, but I just wanted for other women out there to address it. Like, if it feels wrong, then it is wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you don't have to live like this. I think for so long, like, we just like, it's the mentality, it is what it is. I'm in a mindset and a place where no, this is not it is what it is. This is what it is, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Well, we haven't really seen that much inside of the studio, so before it even happens, thank you.
You're welcome.
For pursuing it. It has often been said that, hey, your friends are going to be happy for you, super happy for you. Unless you start to do slightly better than they do, then it's not nearly as cool, right? I think Abby might have felt this way a little bit over the course of the last couple of weeks, and it's time for a self-check.
Yeah, this is one of those segments that I kind of have a pit in my stomach about where I'm like, oh God, I know that they listen to this show and I know they're going to hear these thoughts that I would never articulate to them, but I feel like it's one of those things where I'm like, it's my job to share some of my internal monologue about how I'm feeling in this stage of my life. And I'm kind of putting it all out on the line here.
So if the friends are listening right now, I would just urge you to listen to the whole segment.
The whole segment.
Yeah, don't be outraged by the beginning of it.
Yes.
It's going to have a nice little conclusion?
Yes, a nice conclusion.
Okay.
And if you do feel some type of way about it, feel free to just block me. We never have to speak again. I was kidding. Or you can text me.
Or get your own radio show and respond.
Start a podcast.
But make sure you listen to the segment. Don't let somebody send it to you and be like, OMG, Abby said this. Because 9 times out of 10, that's not what Abby said.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 27 years old, and I've realized I've now entered a phase in my life that I you always know is looming in the distance. You know this phase of your life is coming, but when it arrives, it doesn't necessarily feel great. And I was scrolling through the internet, and I was scrolling through the internet as in Instagram and, Facebook and those other social platforms that people post photos on. And there's a phase that you go through around like your early 20s where people start posting like engagement photos and wedding photos. And you're like, oh my God, like child bride, that's crazy. And you start to see that people are sort of moving their life forward in a different way than you are. And it's interesting to see because you're like, oh, I'm an adult and we do these things now. You have like this weird cognitive dissonance where it's like, I still feel 16 years old, but yet like my friends and everyone else are entering like these very adult phases in their life. And that kind of feels weird, but it's like, yeah, people were getting wifed up at 18 because I live in the deep South. So like we kind of expected all these things to happen. And now I'm entering the second phase, the next evolution of adulthood, if you will, where my friends are starting to announce their planned pregnancies. And
I love how you put the word planned in there. They did this to themselves on purpose.
They're posting about it and they're excited about it. And I had two friends recently announce their pregnancies. And I'm going to say something vulnerable and that I know is not politically correct. But when I saw these posts, my knee-jerk reaction was to not be happy. Because I saw it and I was like, oh my God, like, wow, they got pregnant. I'm like, oh, this is what they wanted. They are married and decided to have a family and decided to have children. And my knee-jerk human reaction was, whoa, like we are adults enough to plan families, to want to have families. And it didn't sit, I like wasn't excited at first. And of course, I did the comments where I'm like, I'm so happy for you. I knew you wanted this. And I am so happy to see you living the dream of what you planned for your life. But I had to kind of sit with why I felt weird about both of these posts for a second. Cause I'm like, I need to be happy for my friends. Like this is a big moment for them.
Even before we go on here, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much about this. I think a lot of people have felt this, that you can be, as Kristen has said before, two things can coexist here. You can be very happy for your friends, but you're also taking a look at your life maybe, and you're just like, hey, that's not where I'm at yet.
And it's not that I want to be there. Like I've said that having kids isn't really a part of my life plan. And so I was wondering, I'm like, is this just because I don't like kids and I don't really want to have kids of my own that I'm like weirded out that they're having kids? And I kind of had to do a deep dive. I'm like, is that the reason why I feel this way? And it wasn't.
Yeah, I think in this instance, and I applaud you because I think it's important to get to the why, like why you had that visceral reaction for, your friends announcing their pregnancies. So when you started doing that like self-reflection and doing that deep dive, what did you discover?
For me, it had less to do about like the kids aspect and more of like, oh my God, am I afraid of growing up? Like, I think a lot of the pushback that I felt internally was, oh my God, they plan their pregnancies and we're going to be like adults. They're going to be mom and dad. And I think for so long, you're kind of in like the rebellious, like young person phase where you're like, I'm so young and cool. And I'm going to do things differently than my parents. And I'm going to, just go out and do all these young and cool things. And suddenly we're entering this phase of our lives where we're like, we can't really be those people anymore. Like we're entering our 30s and we have to grow up at some point. And I think seeing those photos was kind of a sharp wake up call of, aging happens to me, and this part of your life is unavoidable. Like you are going to enter an adult phase of your life, whether you want to or not, and you need to stop pushing back against it and accept that you are just maturing. And I think for some reason, I think for some reason maybe I have a fear of getting older.
Who doesn't?
Yeah,
Also, it feels
Everybody.
like the end of a chapter.
Yeah, kind of like,
that.
oh, the young, fun phase of our life is over, and now we are going to be all adults. Like we're gonna be our parents essentially. I think that's what I saw. I was like, oh my God, like we're becoming mom and dad.
So it's not the idea of like feeling left behind. It's more of grappling with our existence and that I'm an adult now and look at the time that's passed. How much time do I have left? So it's more of like an existential crisis.
Yeah, like adulthood isn't something I can avoid. You know, like at some point, like I'm going to turn 30. At some point, I'm going to have to cash out my 401k. At some point, I'm going to have to look in the mirror and go, those are some wrinkles. Maybe I should get a facelift. I think it was just kind of the realization that
death is imminent.
Maturing is something I can't avoid. And I think maybe I just am in denial that this is something that happens to me too.
I do think the cliche is accurate that comparison is a thief of joy. And I think women probably more so than dudes have this plan, quote unquote plan, in the back of their head where you're supposed to be feeling this way and have this kind of life accomplishment at a certain age. And if it doesn't happen, then but it is happening for your friends based on your timeline. It doesn't sit well, and everybody is so different.
But it's not a comparison thing. Like, I'm not looking at her announcing her pregnancy and going, "Oh, I wish I was pregnant," because I do not. But it's more of just this existential feeling of I don't really want to grow up, and my friends are growing up, so I kind of have no choice but to follow along in those steps because that's just the natural course of life. I have to become an adult at some point. I'm 27 years old.
You don't have to be 30 though. Trust me.
It's Peter Pan syndrome.
It's Peter Pan syndrome, or whatever the female equivalent of that is.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Give yourself some grace, though. I think most people have grappled with that. Like 90% of people have grappled with that. All right, we need to get Kenny on here. Kenny needs our help. Desperate to get his ex-girlfriend back, and only we can help him. Hey, Kenny, good morning.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, what's going on with you and the ex? Tell us about the breakup. How long? What got us to this point here?
Yeah. So my ex-girlfriend, we've been broken up for about 6 months now, and the whole 6 months I've just been trying to beg her to take me back. Like, I made a mistake, and right now she's like on the brink of giving me a second chance, but I got a problem. Her friends don't like me at all. Like, they're like, never get back with this guy kind of like vibes right now, and it's not good.
Okay, what did you do?
What did you do, Kenny? What did you do?
How bad we in the hole, my boy?
I mean, there's got to be a reason why all of them aren't really digging you so much.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't a good boyfriend, to be straight up with you guys. I would like cancel plans and like do dumb stuff with my friends and like just spend too much time playing video games and like drinking and forget about important dates, and like I forgot about her birthday this year.
Okay, it's real growth.
All right. Okay.
And so like I just like undervalued and underappreciated her.
And how long ago did she break up with you? Obviously, right? And how long ago was that?
That was about 6 months ago.
And you're a changed man in 6 months.
I'm trying. Like it woke me up. I'll say that.
So what have you done?
realistic.
Help us out, Kenny, here. What work have you done to get back in her good graces?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to be less selfish and like more mature, more emotionally mature. That's a big thing nowadays is emotional maturity.
It is, Kenny. It's not just nowadays. It's always been that way.
Everybody just wakes up at some point, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, like I've done some serious reflection, and I'm a lot more considerate now, even with like my family and my friends. Like I'm just practicing just being more kind to them, and kind to myself. I want to show her that like I'm really willing to just be there for her, but her friends don't believe that, so that's really the issue, because obviously they talk all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I applaud you for making these changes and taking a look at your life and go, hey, I really need to grow up, and here you are doing it. So is it a plea to your ex-girlfriend that we are making this morning? Is it to the friends? Is it to a specific friend? Who is it?
It's it's kind of both, but mostly to her friends. I made a presentation, a PowerPoint, if that's okay.
A PowerPoint.
A prezi.
Okay.
Okay.
How I've changed, and I'll do better this time, and don't hate me and all that, So
Okay.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, we're going to need a little bit of room for this to breathe, though, because we don't want to rush you through your audio.
We don't know how many slides he got.
Yeah, right.
Audio PowerPoint presentation.
Right. Okay, Kenny, hang with us for a couple of minutes. When we come back, you will make your PowerPoint presentation to the friends, right?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, to her friends, in hopes that you can win them over. They will go to the ex-girlfriend. Everything turns out great.
Yes.
Okay. The PowerPoint presentation from Kenny. Coming up next. In the 20-something years I have done the Bert Show, I don't think we have ever had any kind of PowerPoint presentation to win a woman back. This is a first right here. At least dude's trying, man.
Yes.
I mean, when you mess up, admit that you mess up, make your changes, and you hope that the woman or the man that you lost is eager to listen to you.
And funnily enough, I think it's actually easier to get the ex back than it is to get your ex's friends back.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yes.
For
Right?
sure. Yes.
Right.
And of course, everything that went wrong in the relationship, she went and she told her girlfriends. And so now
Yeah.
they hate Kenny. No offense, Kenny, for just reason, but Kenny is a changed man. And he's about to prove that with his presentation.
Same with my mom. Once I tell my mom that you did me wrong, she will hold that grudge till the
Yes.
day she dies.
That's loyalty right there, man. So Kenny called us a couple of minutes ago and he said, look, he messed up. He wasn't treating his woman with the respect and the attention that she deserved. That was 6 months ago that they broke up. All of her friends hate this dude. He thinks he is a changed man in the course of the last 6 months. So his idea was, hey, Bert Show, can I use your show for a PowerPoint presentation to her friends on the show, which hopefully gets back to her and everybody's happy. And we're like, all right, that's an idea. Let's go for it. All right, Kenny, you ready to do this thing?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. How are we breaking this down? Or should we just sit and listen to the whole presentation?
I don't know. Maybe just sit and listen to the magic.
Okay. Feeling confident, Kenny.
There better
I
be
like
a lot
it.
of power in this point.
All right, man. Let the magic begin. Go for it.
Okay, all right. So, why I deserve another chance. A heartfelt pitch to Emma's amazing friends.
This would be the first slide, I'm guessing. If we're in a big
title?
old conference room,
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
first slide that comes in.
I'll name each slide. Okay, so that was slide 1. Slide 2, introduction. Why I'm here. I know I messed up before. Big time. Emma is willing to give me a second chance if I have your blessing. I'm here to show you why you can trust me to do better this time. Your opinion means a lot to her, and I want to prove to you that I'm worthy of being back in her life.
Okay, that's slide 2. Let me ask you a quick question here about slide 2, if I could. It says that Emma is willing to give me a second chance if I have your blessing. Has she told you that, or are you just assuming that?
More of an assumption, but I know her well. So.
Okay, good enough.
I don't.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
in on the second slide. Let him cook.
I mean, we've spoken. It's not like It's not like we haven't spoken all 6 months. We've been talking.
Okay.
All right. Slide 3, my friend.
Okay. Slide 3. Owning my mistakes. Big one. Where I went wrong. Selfishness. I prioritized my own wants over her needs. No good. Flakiness. I canceled plans and made her feel unimportant. Also not good. Lack of appreciation. The biggest one. I didn't show her enough love or gratitude. What is wrong with me?
Good for you.
Accountability is
Okay.
key there, friend. You're doing good.
And you're not making any excuses, because a lot of guys would go, I didn't show her enough love or gratitude because. There is no because. You're owning it. Good for you.
Trying to, yeah. Okay, slide 4. How I've changed. Steps I've taken to improve. Listening more. I've been working on active listening, not selective listening, so she feels heard.
All right.
Time management. I've gotten better at balancing priorities, meaning not video games and more, dates and
Her.
stuff.
Yeah, more her.
Showing appreciation. I've learned to express my feelings and gratitude openly. That meaning like I've always had gratitude, but I've never expressed it. So now I'm getting better at expressing it.
Okay.
Therapy and reflection. I've been in therapy, yes. I've worked on understanding my flaws and how to fix them, and holding myself accountable.
Hey, hold on one second here. This one is a biggie, right?
Huge.
Here. Okay, so these are not just words. These are actions. You have gone to therapy and you are doing the work. That is a major, major sign right there. Good for you, bro.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Slide 5. My plan moving forward. Okay. How I will be a better boyfriend. Communication. Regularly checking in and being honest. More text. How are you doing? How's your day? This and that. More communication when I'm busy, and this and that. Right. All that. Actions over words. Proving my commitment through consistent effort. More of the same.
Yep, I think the PowerPoint presentation would fall underneath that category.
Right?
For
Yeah,
sure.
I would say so. Yeah. Okay, supporting her dreams, because she is very ambitious, and I didn't really support her enough on that. So I'm always going to be her biggest cheerleader going forward.
Nice. Okay.
And then respecting her circle, making sure that you all feel heard and valued too, not just Emma, but like all of you, because you're all great. Admittedly, you're all amazing.
I forgot that this was for the friends.
It is.
You know what I need to see on a PowerPoint? That every time we go out, you're going to buy my drinks as long as my friends. Then you're in, my guy.
If that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Okay. Slide 6. Why it matters. Why I'm fighting for this. Emma is the best thing that ever happened to me. I love her. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I'm in love with her, and I can't stop thinking about her. And I've learned the hard way how much she's worth, and I don't want to lose her again, and I don't want to take her for granted again. You know, like, you always realize what you had when you lose it, and I don't want that to happen again. You know, she deserves someone who's going to show up for her and be there for her and support her and take care of her and all that. And I am ready to be that person.
That's a good slide. Okay. That's a solid slide 6 right there, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. To her friends. The most important part. Why I need your support. I know you're protective of her and you care about her because you're friends and you've known her since high school and you love her, and that's great. And I respect that. And I want that to be the case. I'm not asking for instant forgiveness or anything like that. You know, I hope you'll give me a chance to prove that I've changed. I know this PowerPoint is one thing, but I want to show you. And, you know, your friendship means so much to her. And I want your trust, too. I want to earn it because if I can't be the enemy in that circle, then it's not going to work. So I want to be friends with you guys, too.
Okay.
And closing, let's start fresh. I'm committed to being a better person and a better partner. And, you know, thank you for taking the time to hear me out. And slide 9 is just the words, thank you. And, you know, your friendship with Emma means everything. And I appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Wow. I mean, Rudy clap.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever Rudy clapped after a PowerPoint presentation?
We have
Might be the first. Might be the first.
And it's not authentic because one of the slides didn't go out, and then you have to readjust it and everything because that always happens.
Too fast.
The graphic come out too soon. Yeah.
Look, my dude, I mean, when I first heard this idea, I thought, okay, this is going to be so bad, so cheesy, that is never going to work. But
it was sweet.
It was not only sweet, it's adorable, it's sweet, and also you're not only saying the right thing, I feel like you really feel it and understand it, that these aren't words.
Yeah, I do. You know, Emma means a lot to me. So.
It feels genuine to me.
Yeah,
I think I mean, it's tough to get the friends over, but I think you did. I think you did the best you could do.
Right.
Abby, if you were in her friend group, would you take Kenny back?
I would say you need a couple of well-placed GIFs, memes, and TikToks, but if you get me to giggle, I'll bring you back into the friend group.
All right, so how does this work now? Do the friends listen to the Bert Show and you know this as fact? I mean, so what is our follow-up here?
I mean, I've been in the room where like you guys have been playing and like they seem to know about you guys pretty well, so I'm assuming they listen regularly.
Okay.
Well, bottom line, we're going to go ahead because we post all of our segments up on our podcast, so we'll give you a link to your podcast segment, and if you want to send it to them, that can be another way to make sure they hear your public PowerPoint presentation.
Well done, Ken. You sound very authentic, man. Well done.
Yes,
well
sir.
done.
Good luck, my dude. This man's real life story is straight out of a movie. Is it coincidence? Is it karma? Or is it just the ultimate plot twist? It's interesting, though, because I've never been married, but I do assume that people who have been married, even sometime when you get a divorce, you still shared a point of your life with someone who obviously meant the world to you. And it forces me to wonder that if you just happen to find yourself in a situation where you get a divorce, because they say timing is everything, and right after you get this divorce, you just happen to hit a $273 million jackpot. Ooh. And if you were in this guy's situation, would you consider reaching out to your ex?
She's the just divorced wife whose ex-husband won $273 million in the lottery. Mike Mursky never had a steady job in their 15-year marriage. And when they divorced 5 months ago, she was ordered to pay him alimony. Now, at age 53, this regular Joe is mega rich. She doesn't want a penny of his winnings.
Your ex-husband won over $270 million.
You were the breadwinner when you were married. You think you're entitled to any of that?
The only thing that I would like to see is obviously termination of spousal support.
Eileen says the lottery jackpot doesn't change the way she feels about Mike. The marriage did not end on a happy note.
Now that you have money, it doesn't mean that I would want to come back.
Mike reacted this way.
$270 million does not make me appealing to her. That's what she said in the New York Post interview.
And do you believe her?
I don't care.
She's better than me because I would be crawling back to his doorstep.
So I got this story from Internet Hall of Fame on X, and it kind of gave me two questions, right? Like, if you're the woman in this situation, how do you feel? And if you're him in this situation, how do you feel?
Well, I don't think the fact that he won $270 billion is going to make her want to go back to this guy. I don't even think that's the question at all.
I literally heard him utter one sentence, and I don't want to go back to him.
Good for her for having that kind of integrity, saying, look, even though he won all that money, I don't want one penny. If I'm him, I am offering her some kind of settlement because, I mean, she covered everything while they were married. Now he's got $270 million. I am making that offer to her. If she don't want to take it, part of me is pretty happy about that. But I would at least make some kind of offer, yes.
He is not going to make any offer. And I would be like her. I'd be like, all right, now that your income has changed, let's take our divorce settlement back to the courts, and I no longer owe you any type of alimony.
Sure. It would be so petty of him not to cancel the alimony. I mean, especially since they say he didn't work for 15 years. That to me feels like, if I'm the guy in that position, I'm with you, Bert. I would offer her some kind of package, just all for the fact that I didn't work for 15 years while we were married alone.
I want more details. Why? Why couldn't he work for 15 years?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm him, like I'm not taking any more of her money. And honestly, I feel like any good person with a conscience would throw her a good million and call it a day. Wipe that off my mind. Know that I've done my part in terms of apologizing for not working for 15 years and being dependent on her.
She doesn't want it, though.
Well, I mean,
if I'm making the offer and she says no, I'm not asking twice.
She says she doesn't want the money. I feel like that's her pride talking. I feel like 6 months down the line, she's going to be like, maybe I should have rethought that.
Too late.
There's a one-time offer.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, close your eyes and picture one of your exes in your head. You break up, you won the lottery, $273 million. How much of that money are you giving them?
Well, I've matured now, so I'd send her at least $25.
Abby?
$0.
Bert?
0.
Yeah, I'm not giving my ex any money either.
No.
That's not happening. He's not giving her a dime.
Look, if God wanted you to be rich, you'd have hit the lotto.
That's a very good point, man. That's a very good point. All right, Kristen has been looking at Abby, listening to Abby. She's coming to the table with real hard strategy on dating when it comes for Abby.
I have an idea, Abby, for a dating segment. All right? And this is not me trying to get some kind of matchmaking redemption. We all know I suck at it. This is not about me. All right? This is about you and other women lifting you up to find your perfect match.
But just that you're behind this suggestion
Jesus.
gives it bad mojo.
No.
You should have given this to Cassie or Mo or me, who has a 100% matchmaking statistical win sheet.
You want me to come over and whisper into your ear and you just repeat what I say so now it becomes your idea?
No, I'm too lazy for that. What do you got?
All right.
Like he's a puppet.
Yes. Can I shove my... Never mind. All right, so...
Please don't.
All right, so here's my idea.
Okay.
Because I feel like we've talked about the dating woes and the dating apps. I feel like some of these men need to come with references. So what if we did a segment where only sisters could nominate their brothers to date you?
Ooh, like pitch a sibling?
Pitch your brother to Abby. So it has to be your brother. And I feel like for siblings, 'cause you have a brother and I have a brother, right? I feel like any sister out there would never pitch her brother if she didn't actually think he was a good match.
I agree.
So for instance, I adore my brother and I think he's a fantastic spouse and I think he's a fantastic match. So I 1000% in our younger days would have and pitched my brother to date you, okay?
And for me, for my brother, when he got a girlfriend, I looked at her and I was like, "Are you sure you want to date him?"
There's two types
Are
of
you
siblings
sure?
out there. So I feel like the 20-somethings listening, the 20-something women listening who have brothers.
Or 30-something.
Or 30-somethings, young 30-somethings listening. So if you are between the age of, we're going to go ahead and do the parameters, 25 and...
I feel like 25 and 34.
All right, 25 and 34. If you have a brother between the age of 25 and 34 that you think would be a stellar match for Abby, I want you to email me, Kristen, Kristin, @thebertshow.com. I will filter through these and see if we get anything good, because I feel like they need that letter of recommendation or that email of recommendation. And I feel like a sister is very discerning. And if we're getting a recommendation for a sister, you're getting a solid rec.
Now, I feel like now that you put this out there, a lot of people are going to message you and be like, "Well, he's not my brother, but I like that."
No.
Are there any exceptions, or
None.
do they have to be your brother?
They have to be your brother.
Does that brother count?
Here we go.
I know somebody gonna try to find a loophole. You know they are.
Don't shoot with the loopholes.
No.
How about if you lived under the same roof? It's stepbrother, but you lived under the same roof?
No.
No, has to be blood.
Yeah.
100% blood.
What if you grew up together? Like, your parents got divorced young and you have grown up with this person for the last 20 years.
No.
I feel like you're eliminating a lot of good guys.
I know. Come on, Kristen. I'm desperate.
If you grew up with them.
Have you heard me recently?
Abby, if they were neighbors, it's fine.
Yeah, we need to.
With Abby, groceries, that's cool denominator.
Yeah, for Abby here, I think the larger the net, the better.
Yeah, come on. Kristen, I have never been more undateable in my life. Let's catch a large net.
Lord have mercy. All right.
I don't think that's true. How about before you got the nose job?
That's heinous.
All right. Your brother, your stepbrother, if you grew up with them, that's fine.
What about cousins?
If a cousin was under the same roof as you and grew up with you, that is fine. You had to share a household with this person, okay? Is that good?
I think that covers it.
What are you getting frustrated? We're just christening your bit. This is what you do with our bits. We're just doing it to you now.
Well, I don't like it, and I won't do it anymore. But bottom line, Abby, are you game for this? Like, I don't want to call it an experiment because it's not an experiment, but I feel like having a solid female recommendation maybe could weed out some of these losers.
Listen, I'm going to be single today. I'm going to be single tomorrow. I'm going to be single after this bit. I have no qualms with going with it.
All right, so you can email Kristen at Kristin@thebertshow.com.
Correct.
Has to be a brother or a cousin, somebody that you lived under the same roof with for how long?
I'm not putting
your entire life.
Your entire life.
Your entire life.
10 years.
You got to send a picture too, man. Don't be sitting here. Oh, he's cute. He's rah. No, I need a picture.
no uggos?
No uggos may apply.
All right, Kristin@thebertshow.com. Oh, the double whammy of dating. Dating the boss, okay, that's questionable, right? Puts you at risk maybe. But dating the boss who's married with kids. Is it time to end the relationship is her question.
Hey, Bert Show. I've reached out to you before and you were extremely helpful in giving me advice about 2 years ago, and I'm hoping you are able to do it again. It's the tale as old as time. I'm 24 years old and I have found myself in love with my boss.
Uh-oh.
A 36-year-old man who I will refer to as Chad, who is married with kids. I know it's okay to hate me.
I don't hate you.
I hate me.
Don't hate yourself.
I've been cheated on in every single relationship I've ever been in, and never in a million years did I ever think that I would be that woman. Here's how it happened. Within the last year, I escaped my abusive ex-husband, who is now behind bars, but when everything went down, Chad was the one who came to my rescue in a platonic way, truly just trying to be helpful as I have no family in the area. The first time I ever saw him outside the professional area, I didn't want to say love at first sight because it's cheesy, but it was almost like we had known each other our whole lives. We got closer and closer extremely quickly, telling each other we love each other within the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
We talk about our life together, what it will look like, how he wants to be the strong male figure in my son's life, etc., and be the man who shows me that I deserve to be loved. I truly cannot tell you one bad thing about him.
Minus
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
that he's married with kids.
And he's
And
sleeping
the
with another
boss.
woman.
Right.
He shows up, gives me flowers randomly, brings me little snacks he knows I love without me asking. He'll call me in the middle of the day just to hear my voice and always puts my needs above his own. Man his wife.
Yeah, right. Is it? Okay. Tough love. You want tough love. Here we go.
I truly didn't know men like this existed. The problem is he's married with kids. He expresses to me that while his wife is a great mother, she's a horrible partner, and he was only staying in it for the kids who are teenagers now. But even if she isn't a good partner, if she ever found out about us, I would feel so horrible because I know exactly what that feels like. His words, I have shown him that he is deserving of feeling loved and appreciated and not just seen as the man who gets S done. He tells me he wants to pay off his debt and set things up the right way for him to file for divorce so me and him can have a good life together and have it not start out in turmoil. Personally, I think that is an oxymoron. How can we expect to have a good life together if we truly do love each other like we say we do if it starts this way being deceitful? Especially being that we still work together and we are definitely not allowed to fraternize with management. However, I do believe that we truly do love each other and that this could be the Hallmark story and that our souls are entangled somehow.
Hallmark is not picking up the story. Maybe Lifetime.
TLC? So I'm asking, what do you think I should do? Should I give him the ultimatum? I don't know how to express this to him without him feeling attacked or as if he's a bad person, or I don't want to be with him. A large part of me wants to tell him that I will be here when he finally gets a divorce, but I can't continue with this sneaking around anymore. I'm not sure what to do. I've been deprived of love and happiness my entire life, and I finally have it and don't know how to keep it. Please help me. Sincerely, Desperate Mistress.
This one's really pretty easy. But do you have the guts to do it? You just got to walk away. Look, this dude is telling you everything. He's got it all. He's got it all right now. He's got the wife. He's got the kids. He doesn't really have to hang out with you at work. He's got it all. This is easy. Text you every now and then. You're the shoulder to lean, or he's the shoulder to lean on.
There probably has been some shower time if that's where you're going.
Physically, I'm guessing he's satisfied in this area with your 24-year-old self also. So he's got it all. I don't know him. I don't know if he's manipulating or not. I don't know if him being there as a friend while you were going through a tough time was part of a plan. I don't know him. All I know is, and I'm invested in you and not him, is let him prove to you everything he's saying. Walk away. That's it. Very difficult. I know it feels good when you're with them, although not that great. Based on what you're saying here in the email, it's chewing you up. The only way that you really can get to the truth here is by walking away. It's not an ultimatum. It's not leave your wife or I'm gone. It's leaving.
Yeah, my heart really breaks for you here because it feels like you are experiencing the thing that everybody wants, which is that great love, that Hallmark story. And I think from the outside, because we're not blinded by all those emotions, we can see the red flags. To me, honestly, this sounds a lot like love bombing. Like he's telling you 2 weeks into the relationship that you guys are in love and that he can really see a future with you. And he's doing all of these things to really lay it on thick that this relationship is so different than all the other ones. But the reality is he has shown you that he doesn't have the kind of integrity to do things the right way to honor your relationship. If he really did honor you if he really did honor your feelings and what you deserve in a relationship, he would go through the necessary steps to get out of this marriage that he says is not right for him and that is not benefiting his life. So I think you really need to see it for what it is, and that it's this guy is taking advantage of the power dynamic of the age and the whole work situation, and also the fact that he has more life experience than you. So if I was you, I would walk away, but I also know that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is simple. Sometimes the right thing to do is the hard thing to do. And it's a simple solution, but it's hard to put the action behind it. You have to walk away. There's no other way to see this. I mean, for you to say that he was helping you platonically, I don't even know if that was a thing. He probably had this as the end game the entire time. And when you take your lenses off and you say you've been cheated on with every guy you've been with, the reality is this guy's no different than the guys that cheated on him. He's doing the same things, and you should see him in the same light. And he's never going to leave his wife. That they always say that. I don't believe that until I see that. No ultimatum is needed. He's not going anywhere. You're just wasting your time. You have to do the hard thing and walk away.
I think we always expect doing the right thing feels good, but that's not the case. Like most of the time, doing the right thing is the hardest thing and the thing that hurts the most. And so, but we do. We want to believe, hey, if I'm doing the right thing, then I'm going to feel good about this. And I'm going to feel positive about this. And that's just not the case. And it's going to be a broken record. Doing the right thing here is you need to walk away from this, and you need to take care of yourself, and you need to let him sort his us.
You have to have enough self-value and self-worth to say to yourself, I'm not going to be number 2. And based on everything in this email, you don't have that. So it is time to start building that. And the only thing to do is walk away. That's it.
100%. Run.
Cassie needs an AI translator for the universe. She doesn't know what the universe is telling her anymore.
That's a great way to put it, actually. So I've not really always been a woo-woo person. I've been very black and white, like things are rooted in science and fact, and that's it.
This is the way you were brought up, right? Your dad's a doctor, right?
Mom's a nurse. My sister even went into public health. She's about to become a doctor. And I was an English major. Like, who stuck out? But the older I get and the more that's happened to me, I've just started to realize there's more of a gray area. And it started when I used to have like visceral reactions to stuff. You know, you're wrong, I'm right. And then I would experience what the other person went through. And I'm like, oh, there's so much more here that I never knew. And that sort of snowballed throughout my life. So now when I look at things, if I have a visceral, like, I'm right reaction, I'm like, what am I missing about this situation that's going on that would give me a different perspective? And especially with my mom's, looming terminal diagnosis, she has stage 4 cancer. I've just been thinking a lot, and this is going to sound boring, but about like life and death and philosophy and existentialism. What are we here for? Blah, blah, blah. Is there life after death? All of that stuff, right? And I just feel like the universe has been giving me crazy signs. And again, that's not something I would generally believe in because I think you can find them wherever. I think, Bert, you mentioned that the other day. You can take whatever you want as a sign, or affirmation that you're on the right track. But it just feels like the universe is slapping me in the face with stuff. So like, I went to my husband's Kindle library the other day, opened 3 random books, unrelated, different genres, different authors. First one's character's name was Cassie. The second one, the character's name was Dr. Young, which is my dad and soon-to-be sister here in a couple months. And the third one was like an old friend of mine who used to play a pivotal role in my life. And it was just jarring to see. And I'm like, okay, 3 for 3, that's weird. It was 3 in a row, by the way. It wasn't like 3 out of 7, 3 in a row. And then I'm driving down the highway last night and I see a billboard and I know there is an Atlanta Braves baseball player named Cy Young, C.Y. Young, but he has a bobblehead out now. And so it's C.Y. Young right in front of me on a huge screen as I'm driving, the only billboard down the highway. It is by the Battery in the Braves Stadium. But still, I'm like, whoa, that is my initials, C.Y. and then Young. And so I'm like, what is happening? I found out a person I knew who has my sister's name. Her mother's name is Angela, which is my mom's name. Just so many coincidences in such a short amount of time. I'm like, the universe is trying to tell me something.
Just for one clarity, for just one thing, the Braves don't have a player named Cy Young.
Oh, who's C.Y.
They had a player that might have won the Cy Young, but they don't have a player named.
Oh, is it an award?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Right, so the universe is that you want to take that one right off the list. Right?
No, it's still my name because it was still on the billboard. I don't care where it came from. By the way, congratulations to whoever won it. 'Cause I see that name associated with the Braves a lot. So y'all are doing good. Yay. Do the thing, win the points. Anyway, so I've been talking about getting this tattoo. And a week or two ago, I came on and said I might have gotten a sign from TikTok, of all places, about a phoenix tattoo I've been thinking about getting. I hadn't talked to anyone about it. I hadn't emailed, searched it, nothing, just in my head. And the first thing I see on TikTok when I open it is a line drawing, small, fine line tattoo drawing of a phoenix. Exactly what I would want. I open Instagram, the word phoenix appears. And so then my mom calls me out of the blue. She's like, I love the idea of a phoenix tattoo. That sounds great. I mean, she saw the segment, but she hates tattoos. And she's like, it makes my heart sing. I think you should get it. So I'm like, okay, great. Everything's pointing me towards this. But I'm still nervous because I'm a Libra and we can't make decisions to save our lives. And then I talked to my husband who has a lot of tattoos and we decide I want to get my tattoo from Bang Bang in New York. It is a very famous tattoo studio. They do all the celebrities. The best some of the best tattoo artists in the world work at Bang Bang. So
like a year-long wait list or something like that?
Some of them are,
yeah.
But they did just do a new hire, and I happen to like her work a lot. So I'm like, I bet I could get in faster with the new hire. But when am I going to go to New York? I'm like, now we're talking a trip to New York. That's a whole ordeal. I don't want to bring the kids up there for this. Do I want my husband with me?
You have a baby in a tattoo parlor.
Exactly. And so I'm like, maybe this is unrealistic. And then in my lap drops a trip to New York for business. Our business manager hit me up and it's like, hey, we're going to need to go to New York at the end of the month for a business trip. cool, get it on the calendar. I'm like, yeah, sounds great. And I'm like, oh my God. And when we're done with meetings all day in the off time, I could go to Bang Bang if they have an appointment and get my tattoo. And it just feels like everything is falling into place. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for someone to tell me I'm stupid.
Have you reached out and seen to see if they have an opening?
I'm nervous because I feel like this is bad. If I feel like I take any action, it's going to unravel everything. I don't know why, but I just feel like I'm going to ruin my own destiny if I have a hand in it, which is stupid. The dumbest thing I've ever said. But I'm still on the fence. Like, am I making this up? Should I go forward with this? Is this a right move? Or is the universe trying to push me towards something bigger? And I'm just like, it's a tattoo. But it's really like, no, there's a bigger thing here we need you to focus on.
Oh, you feel like there's a bigger lesson than just getting a tattoo?
Yes, yeah. And I don't know what it is.
I think it's like analysis of paralysis. And this is
And
also
you are the queen of that.
Yeah. But this is also coming from a guy that is just super spontaneous. And once I get it stuck in my head, that's it. Decision is done. And I just move forward. And that has burned me in the past for sure. But I mean, how big a tattoo are you talking about here?
Not big, like a couple of inches on my forearm. It's just my first one and it's permanent. And so for me, I take that super seriously, and not to say other people with tattoos don't. It's just different for me.
Yeah, you walking passport.
I love tattoos. I'm just very nervous. But yeah, you're right. Analysis to paralysis is one of my problems. And
I mean, was it really going to change anything if you get it done? I mean, what's gonna happen if you get it done?
What if I hate it? What if I'm not a phoenix? What if I'm just a bunch of ashes and I never rise from the flames?
I mean, is there some halfway point here rather than doing something so ambitious on your wrist that you could put it somewhere else?
What about a tramp stamp?
If you do, yeah.
A Phoenix tramp stamp.
I feel like that's telling people I have an STD. Like it's on fire down there.
I don't know. I don't know how this overthinking works. I mean, I'll go to Mo on this one.
Yeah, overthinking is tough. At times like this, honestly, I just lean towards, if I feel like I'm getting signs, whatever the majority of the signs are telling me to do, I just do it. I put it in my head that I'm going to do it, and then I will not allow myself to outthink myself.
When I start going and overthinking, I always default back to my original idea. Like there must have been a reason why I did it. Now I'm just overthinking, and then I go for it.
Reach out to the tattoo place. If they have an opening, you're meant to get it.
Oh.
If they don't, you're not.
Why don't you call them right now? And when we come back, we will see if you are getting this done or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Our tattoo place is open this early?
I don't know. It's your friend's birthday, but should she spend money on the gift?
Well, it's not necessarily a gift. It's more of a gripe having to do with a certain type of person around their birthday. And I feel like we all at least have one of these people in our lives. And it's that person who is the birthday princess, I call them, the birthday month princess, where the second it hits March or May or June or July or whatever freaking month they were born in, from the 1st to the 31st, if there's enough time, sometimes the 30th, the 28th, if it's February, it is birthday time. And a friend of mine is wondering if she's being a little bit of a bee because she's pushing back on something that is being asked of her for her friend's birthday this year. So my friend has been friends with her friend for probably a good 10 years. It's been a long time. This is a long-time friend. I would say maybe not a tier 1 bestie, but like whatever right below is, like a B plus, A minus list friend. They've been friends for forever. They've always been there for each other, but wouldn't consider this a best friend. So her friend, the one that is having the birthday, her boyfriend is planning a birthday party for this milestone birthday. She's turning 30, the dirty 30. He wants to make sure that she feels really special for this milestone birthday.
I love this for her.
And so the boyfriend is having the friend who is turning 30's actual best friend plan a party for the birthday girl. And so the best friend is getting all the other little minions together, all the other little B plus, A minus list friends together to help throw this birthday party for the friend. So the best friend that is planning this party comes to everybody in a group chat and is like, hey, I really want to plan, I've been tasked to plan this party for our mutual friend. I really want to make this special for her. 30 is a big deal. It's a
Really
big
quick.
deal for women.
Why isn't he doing it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think he's a part of it, but I think he wants the best friend to take charge because women and they plan parties and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know this man.
And maybe he knows his weaknesses and his strong suits, and party planning is a weakness.
That's what I was thinking. He probably knows she'll do a better job.
Yeah, I think he's helping, but I think he wants her to head it.
Okay.
So the best friend comes to everyone and says, "Hey, I really need a little bit of assistance. We're all obviously busy adults, so I'm going to need some help, especially in the money department, because it's going to be a little expensive to throw this thing for our girl. But I know we all care about her, so can we all take on one different thing? So can Savannah, can you do the balloon arch, and Tracy, can you do the charcuterie board?" And basically splitting it up. And my friend is like, I have bought so many gifts over the last year for other people's baby showers and weddings that another $400 purchase for a balloon arch is just really pushing it at this point.
Oh, I got some Amazon links that'll do way better than that.
So my friend ends up pushing back and saying, "Hey, this is a lot for me. Can we lower the budget? Can I, contribute to something else?" And she said she was kind of getting a little flack from everybody else saying well, we're contributing this and we're contributing this. Can you do $350? Can you do $300? And she's getting really fed up at this point where she's like, this person means a lot to me, but throwing another couple of hundred at somebody for their 30th birthday is just really feeling like a lot.
That is a lot of money.
So she's like, should I just back out completely? If they're kind of all or nothing, should I just back out of this group chat? And am I going to look like a bad friend if I end up saying I don't want to be a part of it anymore?
I hate that they're putting her in that position, because it doesn't matter what you have isn't what somebody else has. Everybody's budgets are different. And to expect somebody to shell out the same amount as you, I think is an unrealistic expectation. And it's unfair to that person. And just because they don't want to shell out that much money doesn't mean they don't love the person any less. Maybe they just don't have that kind of cash rolling in their bank account. So I think she hits them back and be like, y'all, I've crunched, I do a budget. This is what I have. Let me know this is how I can how I can help, and I want to participate, but this is all I have.
Guys, you got to feel really grateful that you guys are dudes, because I would got to say, for women, I constantly feel cornered into a lot of birthday things, in terms of having to go on trips or buying a certain amount of things for the party. It is tough because it's I love you, but my wallet doesn't.
Yeah. If you don't have it, you don't have it. I don't think that makes you a bad friend. I would try to help any way I could, but if you don't have it, you don't have it.
The Bert Show.